Hey guys, we're live. As you can see, Jason's not here yet. He will be joining us shortly, we hope. He's got some family things to tend to for a few minutes, and we have him live. We're here to talk about the game that was the game of Nevada. We want to talk about all things Nevada and some improvement that we saw there. But first, I just want to point out that we need to, or have you guys please check out Cincy by Terry at the link that I put up there in front of our faces there, right below our faces. Please go check out her site for all the good stuff that you can get. Right now, I ordered a warmer for the 49ers, and it smells like right now, currently in my room, it smells like I just stepped out of the shower with Gridiron Rush. It's a real fresh, scenty smell that most guys will like. You know, if you guys are not into foo-foo smells, this is a smell you should enjoy. Okay, Paul, let's get to it.
Is the game finally over, Dean? Is it finally over?
I know it. Is it? Wait a minute. I think we're in another delay. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Yeah, we'll be back in half an hour, guys.
I'll have to admit, during the delay, we'll talk about the delays and the 7 hours it took to finish that game, that I got bored and I started trolling some of the other guys that do live shows. Gary Dolphin and they didn't stay live. They put on an old repeat show of the 25th year anniversary of when Dolphin, Eddie joined the show. And some of the things about how they kicked Zabel and Brooks and all those guys out. And then they brought them back into the fold before they died to kind of like, anyway, long story short. So they did that. But, you know, WHO Sound Off, you know, with Travis and Ross, who do Sound Off. You probably can't get it. I mean, you can if you want to use iHeartRadio. But if you want to get it, it's usually on about 90 minutes after the game ends. And they went live, and it was kind of fun. They talked about everything. They talked about the game. They talked about other stuff. It was kind of fun. And so every time we went into delay, I went back to watch them. You know, they were having a little fun, and they were looking just like you and I were on our screen. One was doing it from his home, and the other one was doing it from his home. And they said they were going to still go live after the first delay. They were going to still go live with Sound Off, and after the third delay, they said, "Sorry, guys, it's going to be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We are not staying up that late."
Welcome to living on the East Coast, where the game didn't end until 2:41 a.m.
Right. God, that had to be crazy. You know. But then, there were some people tweeting out pictures from the game at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, showing the thing. Most notably, our Iowa basketball team was there supporting their football team, and a lot of them were intact when they showed the picture of them.
Nice.
But I thought it was crazy. I put this down there. That guy, they kept showing that guy with that big bag of popcorn. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
You know, and then they came back to him a few minutes later, and that thing was practically empty. And I didn't think that popcorn was going to be empty before he went home.
No.
You know, and then they showed that guy with the pizza, and they go, "Oh, apparently you can get late night delivery at Kinnick Stadium." Yeah, but anyway, Iowa won. We're talking about a win, and I think we all can agree that there was a big step forward in the offense. I thought Petrus looked a lot like himself from last year. And he did throw over 50%. I don't know if the exact was, but it was 50-something%. So that's about where he was last year. The things I was glad to see that they took a chance on with all the extra wide receivers available this week, that they took a chance on throwing deep. I think they threw deep 8 times and connected on 3. So, wait a minute. Let's do this. Let's bring him on. Morning. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're here, Casey. So anyhow, so I think he hit on 3 of 8, and somebody doing their little review of the rewatching the game said that actually he could have been 5 or 6 for 8 on those deep balls because he put it on the receiver, not Petrus. So it sounds like Petrus was pretty on his game, But it's how well do you do, when you're stopping and starting a game several times and you're also playing in a driving rainstorm.
Right. I mean, with everything kind of working against both offenses, everything surrounding the whole situation. I made a post there on Facebook that has gotten quite a bit of reaction. That I said, look, Spencer was okay. He was okay. That's all we've really ever asked out of him. If you go back the last 2-3 years, we just wanted him to be okay, and he was.
And he was.
He was. I thought, when they moved the pocket and Keegan Johnson got his first catch, Spencer put the ball where it needed to be. Was it maybe absolutely perfect? No, but it was in a place where Keegan could catch it, right? It didn't sail 10 feet over his head. He caught the ball. Those deep shots, the one to Breck there in the end zone, Brody, if he makes a little better adjustment on the football, he has a chance to catch it. The touchdown pass that he threw to Arlen Bruce that everybody wants to say was overthrown or whatever. No, I mean, he put the ball in a place where Arlen could go get it, and Arlen made a good catch. I thought it was a good pass. Maybe, could it have been placed more perfectly? Perhaps, but overall, I thought Spencer played okay. And if you give him a little grace for playing through the rain, through the delays, through everything, I thought he did okay. I have no complaints with Spencer Petras.
I don't either. He did what we asked him to do, just to be okay. We asked him to be average. If he was average and the offense was average, we would win some games. We guys want to welcome Jason. He's on board. As you guys can see. Welcome back, Jason. We missed you last week.
Well, I appreciate that. Glad to be back.
All right.
The brain stays awake. It's already been a rough morning. I don't have my morning Diet Dew. This is the first time in a decade I completely forgot I was out of Diet Dew.
Really?
Yeah. I can't.
Well, when you were out traveling running kids to school, why didn't you stop in and get one?
Well, yeah, I didn't realize I was out until I got home.
Oh.
And then I was in panic mode. You know how people love their coffee?
Yeah.
I'm that way that's my coffee is Diet Dew.
Correct.
Yeah, mine's Diet Dr. Pepper or Pepper Free. So my wife cringes every time she sees a grocery cart full of that stuff.
So does mine. Just drink water. I'm like, you drink coffee. It's okay for her to drink coffee.
Good comment, Mike. I want to recognize your comment there. And I'm sure Jason, you can probably speak to this better than I can, but I felt like, the first big touchdown run came on the heels of us taking a deep shot, right? So, I mean, just the idea that, throwing the ball past 20 or 25 yards can help the running game, whether you complete the pass or not. I do think we saw some of that.
Yeah. And actually they said the reason that they haven't been taking as many deep shots, they have some receivers. They've been having guys like Jack Johnson come in to run clear out routes, if you know what I mean. That's been running the deep routes. But they did say the reason why they haven't had their Bruce running those deep routes is if he gets tired, they didn't have anybody to go to really. Because Breck was still, he's and KJ both, they're still have that hammy injury. So the reason they didn't have their main guys running those deep shots, which would be pretty much just Bruce, right? Is that they didn't want to wear out the receivers.
Right.
So they did say that they really did want to do what they did last week. It's just last week. That's why you saw Breck. I think the only route he really ran for the most part was that deep one. He had that one short route that he caught, that 4-yard pass where he came in for KJ, and KJ's 2 catches were basically the same, same route as what Breck ran. Just it was a sprint out. Petras threw the ball great, rolling to his right. I mean, he really did. He didn't just throw it out in God's country like he was the first 2 weeks. So, I mean, really, that's a big part of it because the receivers were wide open. And the reason I don't fall into this, well, there's no chemistry. When it's an out route, you don't need chemistry, right? Chemistry is when the play is breaking down and you just know where that receiver is going to go, right? You just have this chemistry with the receiver. On the simple out route, that's just throwing a practice out route when they're that wide open. So
Hey, Jason,
with Petras throwing the ball because he was hitting the wide open receivers.
isn't chemistry also kind of pre-snap stuff where you see the quarterback sees the way the defense is set up, the wide receiver sees that, and then they're both making side adjustments, right?
Right. But Iowa doesn't run many of those option routes.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're talking my guy, Mike Leach, it's all option routes, right? You have to recognize if you're running against man zone, because if you're running a slant and it happens to be you're running it into a zone, you would just stop right in the middle, right? Right in the wide open area in the middle or whatever, depending on what route. But yeah, I mean, Iowa they should run more. But I heard they were running more a few years ago. I just don't see it. So I can't say that they're not. It just doesn't look like it because sometimes we do running routes right into coverage. So that is what it is. But the chemistry for me has just been like the wide open dig route. Remember I said it just took away my soul because Wick was just wide open in the very first game of the year. And then the drag route last week or 2 weeks ago against Iowa State where Bruce was wide open right in front of him and he missed it. So Petras this is just one of those games that say, okay, Petras can be pretty good, but what's he going to do next week? So that's just the way I am. Like the first 2 weeks has just been, it was rough on him, right? And we could say it's about the receivers not being there. Okay. The blocking. I've been having conversations. I had one with Brian Suter last night about the offensive line. The offensive line did pretty well. Regardless of what anybody wants to say, Petras had a pocket a lot of the times. And one of the sacks that he took was on Gavin. That wasn't even on the offensive line. That Gavin completely whiffed on his block. Like literally, he went try to block somebody on the outside. It was an inside blitzing linebacker. Petras didn't have his chance. The offensive line did their job, but Gavin did it.
Yeah.
So it's more than just on the offensive line.
Right.
But we're trying to take away those big runs to say that I only average 2 yards a carry. We'll take away those 3 sacks and Iowa averages 5 yards a carry. I mean, geez, take away the runs where the offensive line blocked it perfectly, right? And then you don't take away the sacks if you're trying to do yards per carry. Those sacks are averaged in there. That's why it was 4.6. It was 4.6 when you include the sacks. So,
by the way, too, that's not an Iowa thing, right? I mean, honestly, you go find any running team you want or any football team you want and say, oh, well, if you take away their 2 best runs, what is their average? That's been the missing ingredient is we hadn't popped off anything big.
Right. No, you're 100% accurate. You could go to any offense and say the same dang thing. Yeah. It's like, you get, but Brian wasn't saying that. Him and I were just discussing the offensive line in general and then how all these people are trying to make excuses. They just,
partly thanks to Caleb Johnson's 2 huge runs for touchdowns, Iowa comes out with a 4.6 rushing average. Yeah. But that's all on Caleb because nobody else got over 4.
He got 14.
Yeah, he got 14.
7 carries and average 14.5 yards a carry.
Yeah. I was nice to see him break 3. He almost did it identically twice. once on the one side of the field and once on the other side of the field, almost identical runs. And it was nice to see him break three because I'm listening to his interview yesterday on the player interview. It sounded like he was getting discouraged a little bit, from the first couple of weeks.
Well, he's just soft spoken.
Yeah, he is.
He even said it himself. He was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Remember those holes I was talking to you about when I was telling you that he wasn't doing very well because he's a big dude, but he was like nervous to go through the hole.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was talking about.
Oh, okay.
He was mad at himself for not hitting the holes. He said he was jittery. His first game action was just weird to him. And then,
and the game was probably still running a lot faster than in his high school days to him.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but I also said that first week, even though those first couple of weeks, even though he wasn't showing a lot, there was just something about the way he come off the ball that I liked, and I was glad to see that he did that this week because it showed me that.
Well, if you remember his very first touchdown run, he had to actually make a move in the hole. Like he saw it over here, he had to jump back to the right. So that tells you he's got some vision too.
Right.
He was able to see it back to the right, and then if he switches ball hand, he could have just stiff armed those dudes. But instead, he was just running through them. They hit with the ball in his left hand, and they're all grabbing his left shoulder and everything, and he's just chugging away. I was like, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Does he, as a running back, want to be running through people? Because I know somebody asked Spencer about him running through people like that they thought it might be prone to injury.
No. Well, injury of other players.
On my list of concerns, like if I had a top 10 list of concerns about the Iowa offense, the running backs are probably 10. I mean, I really don't see them as being the problem. I don't care who you put back there. There's about 9 other issues or concerns that I have that are ahead of the running backs, period.
Well, I mean, Gavin, his longest carry was 12 yards, and he still averaged almost 4 yards a carry, like 3.8 or something. Patterson averaged 3.6 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. So, and the only running back to take a tackle for a loss was Johnson. You believe that? He averaged 14 yards a carry, and he had one carry that lost 3 yards. and another carry that lost 1 yard.
And that's where my greater concerns come into play is the offensive line. To me, is still not playing good football, and I think we're still seeing delayed snaps from the center. Like I feel like it's out of sync up front. The guys up front are not that big guy for Nevada. I can't think of his name at the moment. Patterson, maybe.
Big boy.
Yeah, we couldn't block him.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the one that Terry affectionately called Fat Boy?
Probably. I think he's number 0 or number 2. He was a low digit number, but high impact guy on a bad defense. Mm-hmm. So, and it's not even about the size because go back to South Dakota State, they were undersized, and we couldn't, we didn't get any push against them either. But
wait a minute though. Let's say this team, Nevada, is not going to hang with South Dakota State.
No,
they're not. And the goose egg I promised you guys, it happened. Both of you guys had them scoring on us. And I said there was no way with our defense that this team was good enough to score on us.
I'll give you credit for that.
Yep.
Yeah,
I got that one. I get one. But I said 23-0, and it was 27-0.
And you got Johnson. You were all high on Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he continues to make those kind of strides. We'll find out this week because Iowa opening up Big Ten play on the road at Rutgers. We know that Rutgers isn't the toughest team in the league, but
that might be another shutout. That could easily be another shutout for Iowa's defense.
Yeah, maybe. I like our defense. With our defense, I like our chances there.
Yeah,
but they're kind of scary too.
Rutgers' offense is terrible.
Is it?
They're almost as bad as Iowa. Almost.
Right.
They're bad. I mean, yesterday against Temple, the only reason they beat Temple is because of a pick six.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now.
Kurt Warner's son threw a pick six. Other than that, that they lose the Temple. No, the offense has been terrible all year. They're winning games the same way Iowa is. That's basically what it is.
Right.
I mean, but their coach is like Kirk too. I mean, Keanu is a defensive coach, so I mean, it makes sense. They're still winning regardless of what their offense is doing.
Right.
But I could totally see a 10-0 Iowa win in this game because of Iowa's defense and the punter. And the special teams is what could win this game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we just seem to have the ingredients there, and if the offense can do it at least as much as what they did this week,
right?
It should be a victory.
Jason, how does playing a game until 1:30 in the morning local time impact these guys from a preparation standpoint, or would it have messed with their schedule for yesterday as far as film work or prep work for the week? Do you see there being an impact from that, or not really? Is it any different than traveling back from somewhere and getting in late?
No, it's not going to affect the Rutgers game. Let me say that, because I'm thinking Curtin wanted his rest too, so he probably let the kids sleep. They just made Sunday a later day. Whatever they do on Sundays, it could even be a day off, and the coaches get together and watch tape and stuff before. I'm not sure what Kirk does on Sundays, but I mean, they would have just let the kids sleep, get all their sleep that they need, and then start over from scratch. Try to maybe even take some melatonin or something to get you to fall asleep Sunday night to get back on your normal. But as far as during the game, it affects you huge. Right. They were just wanting to get the game over with. Like all these people say we should have won 50-0. Not at 1:30 in the dang morning.
No.
I mean, give me a break. Give me these kids. The kids were, after midnight, they were like, geez, because they're used to going to bed earlier.
Right.
Getting up early. Because remember, Kirk changed his schedule where they practice in the morning now.
Right. Yeah.
So, they're used to going to bed and getting up early. So that game, I guarantee it, there might have been a shower and then death. It wasn't. I bet you there wasn't, maybe getting a bite to eat on your way to, the bed. But, there wasn't much. I don't think it'll affect them at all for the Rutgers game.
Okay.
But definitely during the Nevada game.
Yeah. As far as I was concerned, what happened after all the long breaks and they finally did come back and play the rest of the game, at that point, it was just football, right? And it was two teams that really were just trying to get the game done. That's what I saw.
It really was.
I didn't even see. I think at the end, Nevada was just like, even they were just running the football, just trying to look. We just want our check and get the hell out of here. That's
we were going. Oh, we're tired. We're not going to beat you guys. We're tired.
I don't understand how people can't see that. Yeah, and the Big Ten 60 for everybody who missed the game is 8:30 tonight.
Oh, okay.
8:30 Central Time.
9:30. Okay.
What is? I missed that.
The Big Ten 60. The game will be, the BTN in 60. The Iowa game, the Iowa Nevada game is tonight.
I guess because they had 7 hours of tape to go through, they couldn't get it. They couldn't get it done and put it on yesterday because I kind of wanted to watch it all in order.
Yeah. Me too. That's why I look for it. It's tonight at 8:30.
I watched the first half on my cell phone. Well, first I listened to the Dolph and Eddie broadcast, forgetting that I could watch it on my cell phone while I was at the party. So then I switched over after the Caleb Johnson run touchdown. I switched over and watched it. I turned it on right in time to see the touchdown pass. That was to Arnold. Oh God, guys, I'm sorry. I'm in so much pain today. Forgive me.
Yeah, and if I can be just a little snarky for a moment, for anybody that said Spencer will never play on Sundays, you were wrong.
Oh my God, yeah. Unless it's California time, because he didn't play in California on Sunday.
Okay.
I
Well,
love
you
it.
just, so you didn't have to stay up till midnight?
11:40 was the time it got over here.
You lucky dog.
You son
Well,
of
I
a.
didn't either. I slept. I passed
Well,
out.
we figured that out. We figured that out about halfway through the second, I think, delay
second
is we
delay?
realized that you were no longer commenting and we think you went to bed.
Yeah. No, I just passed out in the recliner.
You did?
Yeah, I was trying to stay awake for the Iowa game. I'm like trying to keep my eyes open, but I go to bed about between 10 and 11 every night. I'm up at 5 every day. So I'm one of those. I don't stay up late. I'm not a night owl. I love mornings.
Yeah. I really felt bad for Terry Roberts that his teammate got a holding penalty on himself because that was a sharp-looking pick six that he had.
Yeah, I thought that was an offsides penalty. I thought it was an offsides penalty.
That's what it was, yeah. But somebody on his team got an offside call.
Yeah,
If he could have stayed onside just a hair longer, half a second longer, we'd have had a 34-0 game.
Yeah,
and Terry Roberts would have got his pick six. That guy worked so hard. I was so happy for him until I saw that we had a flag on the play.
Yeah, Terry's got 2. Cooper's got 2. I mean, they're starting to come now with their turnovers. It started slowly, but they're coming now. Cooper could have had a pick six.
Correct.
God, I was watching this interview. He looks so young. He doesn't even look like a football player.
You should see his younger brother.
Baby-faced assassin. He's the BJ Armstrong of Iowa football.
Yeah, BJ. Yeah. Oh, they are. They're young-looking kids for real. His younger brother starts, plays quarterback for their high school, and he does great too. I don't know what position he'll play. Probably defensive back as well. But he's just like Cooper, just like him. His team was losing on Friday night, and then he went 88 yards for a touchdown, and his team didn't look back. So we may have another DeJean coming.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One of the other pictures tweeted out at 2:30 in the morning or 1:30 in the morning was AJ's dad, along with one of his sons or both of his other sons. No, one son plays for Iowa, so it's one other son that we were recruiting that we lost out on. We're at the game.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a 5-star too, like his older brother.
Right. We lost him. We didn't get him.
Really?
Which is kind of sad because I thought we had him for sure.
What do you
I
mean?
didn't know he committed anywhere.
He didn't.
I thought he committed.
Hasn't committed. Oh.
Are you sure he hasn't committed? I'm going to look that up. I thought he committed.
Are we talking about? I think his name's Losay. I think his name's Losay Epinesa, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's still. That's why he was at Iowa. Like he's still doing the recruiting thing.
Oh, okay. Well, they said there was no recruits left at 2 a.m. They were all gone.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they all left.
Yeah. So.
They won't blame God for what happened.
Yeah, guys. Also, in case anybody didn't hear it, because nobody put it in an article, but if they didn't see Kirk's presser, that the reason why LaShawn Williams wasn't present was because his father had passed away the Saturday before, and so Kirk, said he expected him back within the next couple days, and so that's sad. I mean, a young guy that age, his dad passing away like that.
Absolutely, yeah. Thoughts and prayers to LaShawn and his family, and just that's terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was also brought up in Kirk's because I kept saying, why isn't KJ playing the second half? Why aren't we throwing him some balls? Why isn't he out there? And then it turned out that KJ himself chose to sit out because he just didn't think he could keep getting himself warmed up for every break.
Yeah, that's a hammy injury, man.
Right.
You can't just get loose, get tight, get loose, get tight
At
that level.
Yeah, Paul explained that earlier before we went on the air. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, when it's a hammy, hell, that could be a all year lingering bullcrap injury if you're not careful. So it still might be for him. He may just have to tough it out when the game matters. But in that situation, he wasn't going to win the game. So, they didn't really need him at that point in the game. But, if Spencer would have let him more, he would have had a touchdown. The pass interference happened because it was underthrown. That's he beat that guy. I mean, he beat him pretty good. That would have been pretty awesome for him to get a touchdown on his first game back.
Right.
Either way, Spencer looked much better. To me, he looked confident. He put balls in for the most part in catchable places.
Yeah.
That's all I really ask of the guy. I don't have unrealistic expectations that he's going to magically evolve into Tom Brady. Like, that's just not who he is. Yeah. He doesn't have that kind of skill set, level of ability. He just doesn't. But can he throw 5-yard outs in a place where the guy can catch a football? He kind of has to. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the easiest routes to throw. I mean, it's other than a slant, the easiest route in the world is a slant right in front of you. But other than that, the out route is the next easiest. It's not hard.
I didn't see anything from him Saturday night that made me go, oh Jesus! Like, what is he doing in there? Why is he on scholarship? Right? I didn't have any of those moments.
Well, you see too, they rolled him out more.
Yeah, they rolled him out.
I saw that. I thought, wow, they're rolling him out.
That was, I mean, one of the best. He was perfect, I think, passing on rolling right. I think because he hit KJ twice. He hit Brody Breck. I mean, he didn't ever throw it deep on the rollout, but he hit the out route or the stop route, whatever they're running on that side. Right. Every time. I don't think he missed once. Did the big shot he took early in the game, did that almost help him? I mean, just from a standpoint of, okay, you know what? They just lit me up and I'm okay. Like, I can go play football now, right?
I mean, it could have. He doesn't seem to have that personality, but you're right. There's 100% players that once, like Brett Favre, there's 100% players that when they get hit, they're like, all right, it's game time, right?
Game on, buddy. Game on.
You want them to run the ball or get sacked, get hit, maybe not get sacked, but you want them to get hit on a play because then all of a sudden it does. It gets the juices flowing and then everything's good. So it could have helped him. I mean –
but he did take a pretty good shot there on the sideline.
Yeah, that was the first time he's ever really taken a shot. I wish he would dive forward. He is so tall.
I know it.
He gets out and runs and he slides. And I'm like, why are you sliding? It was wide open. Just dive where they ain't, right? You're not going to take a hard shot. Because he slid. The defenders just came up and he didn't even give them time to jump over him, right? He literally slid like 3 yards too early when he could have just dove to the left.
I know you're watching that, and the one that he did last week. You're watching that, and you're thinking, "Dude, you had that. Why did you slide?"
Well, last week made me more angry because he was playing like ass, and you would think that for him he would be mad, and he would just go get that first down. Right? He's a big dude. Just dive forward. Get angry. Freak. Do something. So. I mean, that's the way I was with it last week. But this week, I was just like, I just rolled my eyes this week because they were winning. And it's all, but he could easily just dove to the left, dive where they ain't. That's what you do. You don't have to slide unless they're, coming up to kill you, right? But you can easily dive where they ain't. So that's my rant on that.
I was just going to bring up Spencer's passing yardage. It was 14 for 26, 175. Yep. He had an average of 6.7. What I don't understand, and he had one TD. What I don't understand, it says his QB rating was 31.3. Is there a couple of different rating systems out there? Because Chad Lysico said something about he had 121 or something QB rating on his thing. So there must be a couple of different ratings going on out there.
There is. The ratings don't really mean crap. They really don't. Everybody's got the QBR. On the QBR, I think had him at 93 or something like that. So, it just depends. But if you think about it, the receivers could easily made him 20 out of 26, in my opinion. Like on that post route, perfect throw, Jack Johnson stumbles for no reason. Like they were chasing him. So it wasn't like they tripped him. They were chasing him. It was like this, and then he fell. And then the one play that Iowa fans are fighting over, which some of them are right and some of them are wrong, literally wrong, was the the Brody Breck play where the ball was over the outside shoulder. That's
Right.
where the ball is supposed to be, right?
But it was the other way.
No, it was put over the outside shoulder, but Brody turned this way.
Okay,
But
Brody's the one that turned wrong.
Yeah, Brody turned wrong, but in practice, it's like this, right? Because you're expecting a safety. So you want the ball to go over the outside shoulder. That's where Spencer threw it. I mean, I hope that's what he meant to do, because that's how you would practice. But in the difference in what makes it to where he could have made it easier is there was no safety. And this is what Iowa fans see, right? There was no safety, so Spencer could have saw there's no safety, so I can just lob it to the inside. It would have made it a much easier catch, right? Because Breck burned that guy. Boy, he was wide open by 5 yards or more. It was a great play call. And I want to say it was just a one-man route. I don't think there was anybody else that ran a route. I believe everybody blocked, and Brody just took his guy on the 9 route. I mean, it was perfect. He burned him. It was a play action, just chuck it up. So, the ball, he threw it the way you would in practice, right? But a good quarterback, well, I mean, that sounds bad. I don't want to say it like that. But some quarterbacks would see there's no safety, so I'm throwing it, right to the inside and let Brody go get it.
I felt like Spencer was playing in rhythm. A 3-step drop, ball was gone. 5-step drop, ball was gone. He was decisive. He was, by his standards, accurate. It wasn't, tactical, pinpoint accuracy, but it was okay. Like, that's what we talked about. It was okay. That I don't have any problem with where does the ball come down on a 40-yard pass to Brody Brecht, who, by the way, saw his first, meaningful action. That's a situation too where you'd like for him to have been healthier for the last couple of weeks, and a Johnson healthier the last couple of weeks, and these guys have missed time, not just game time, but practice time too. And I'm not trying to be a Spencer apologist here. I'm just saying that you can't expect Spencer to be absolutely perfect and not acknowledge everything else that is going on around. Now, is that excusing the first 2 weeks? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because there was way too many passes where, Spencer had time and wasn't putting the ball in catchable places. But Saturday he was. That's all.
And that's where I'm at. That's why I was saying when I get all these questions from people, I'm like, "What do you think now? Like, what do you think now?" And I'm like, I'm going to stick with my 10-2 prediction until they can't do that anymore. But I can't say anything until next week because Rutgers is a good defense. So I want to see what they do against Rutgers, and then I'll give an honest opinion about what I saw. Right.
I think if we can continue to see some growth along the offensive line, a little more cohesion there, a little better interior play, if we can get that worked out a little bit better, the offense has a chance to really make some strides. I mean, the good news is it was hard to get worse than what we saw, but I do think that we're seeing some improvement, and it's not all just because Nevada is not a good football team. Are they great? No, God, no. But they aren't terrible either. Well, by football standards, maybe their
defense is
ranked scholarship too.
Yeah, the defense is ranked 86th out of 132. But they haven't played anybody either. Texas State, Incarnate Word. So, yeah, and who knows what that Incarnate Word game was even like. That could have just been one of those games where, like an App State, Texas A&M, right? Where it's like, whoa, maybe Nevada was just shell-shocked by what they were doing, right? You can't just say, oh, they put 600 yards up. Do they run the no huddle? I don't even know a dang thing about them, right? Do they do something different and Nevada was just shell-shocked? I mean, give me a break. All these teams or people just talking about, we don't know what happened during that day. Were half their starters out? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
But
The way Iowa runs offense, they were never going to put up 600 yards. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
It's just not how we do things. So
Right.
when you factor in the weather and the delays and everything else, and I thought the Iowa offense, I thought both sides, all three phases played excellent and did more than you really could have asked out of that situation.
Hey, if I could toot my own horn since Dean did, I told you Steven should have been starting from the beginning.
I was just going to bring that up.
I couldn't believe Blom was kicking. It's just so weird to me. Blom, because they were so even, right? Remember I said the kicking game wasn't going to be that big of an issue the beginning of the year because Paul was really worried about the kicking game, right? But that was a time I did not think Blom would win the job. I know he probably won the job because he was a sophomore, where Stevens is a freshman. But Stevens has the bigger leg, which is why he was doing kickoffs. And apparently he's more accurate.
Yeah.
No, I always thought he was. And that just makes me think that Woods doesn't have as much say on who starts on special teams either.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, here's something that kind of ironic, okay? We know how Spencer started the season with the first two games. The fans were clamoring for a change. He wouldn't make a change. But basically, Brom, what's his name? Brom, the other kicker? Basically, he misses
Blum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, he misses a 47-yard kick in the driving rain that would have sent Iowa into overtime with a chance to win the Iowa State game. So basically, his missed kick going wide right that wasn't even close, or wide left. I'm not sure which one it was.
Right.
Not even close. Cost him his job.
Well, I mean, it should have cost him his job in week 1 when he missed a 35-yarder. Remember?
Yeah.
He missed that too. He was 1-3 in his field goals.
Right.
But if you miss a 35-yarder, that right there should be all right, dude. I mean, you had your chance. When you have two really good kickers, and they were 15-15 back in Kids Day, remember? All right. So, I mean, they were both must have been neck and neck, and they both can hit over 50-yarders.
Right.
But if you miss a 35-yard field goal, I mean, I grant it's only one kick, but if you have somebody behind him that's good, you have to let the other guy go. Yeah. Because maybe
we're just
on game day.
Yeah, we're just so used to Iowa being spoiled with place kickers that 47-yard field goal is a chip shot for him.
Well, it might have been for Stevens. Stevens should have been starting. From here on out, that's not going to be an issue. I promise. My guy is starting. Now if I can only get Wet Gin to return kicks. Like, why the hell is KJ returning kicks?
Oh, Wet Gin. I got some information on that one. I was talking to his great uncle. He's got plantar how do you say that? Plantar fasciitis?
Plantar fasciitis.
Yeah. Okay. He has that. What's so funny?
The way you said it.
Oh.
But anyway, he does.
Yeah. He's dealing with that. Although he's still hoping to get a chance to show his stuff.
Yeah, he's still out there not on the field, but he's still on the sidelines.
Right.
And his I think it's his mom who's in my group.
She's in our group too.
Yeah, I think she's she keeps wanting him out there at wide receiver. Like, she's all bummed when he doesn't get an opportunity. So, but if he's got that's it. That's interesting. But,
yeah. Okay. No, talking to his great uncle, he
that's painful.
His great uncle's really hoping to get him out there too. I mean, and you can't blame him. They want him out there, and for what he showed he could do in spring. And I know Jason's even mentioned what he could do in spring with staying stride for stride with Charlie. Well,
he's the Bruce. Like, him and Bruce are like really close to equal. Now, I don't know how good Wedgin catches the ball. Bruce is a really good receiver. He doesn't drop many. He dropped one against Iowa State, but that could have been just a shock that the ball got there that day. Right? So, he was.
Hey, fellas,
it's like, what? You actually got it to me?
No, Yeah, no one was more surprised than Arlen. Fellas, I just want to tell you, if your home smells like the locker room after a 7-hour football game and you need to freshen things up a little bit, check out Terry's Scentsy page. We've got the link there right on the screen. Today we are doing Blue Grotto, which isn't nearly as dirty as it sounds, I don't think, but it's actually a very nice fresh scent. You can see behind me, I do have my warmer going there. That's what those lights are. So I am melting the Blue Grotto here in the locker room, Hawkeye room that I've got. So if you don't want your house to smell like fan, contact Terry.
There you go. Oh wait, guys, we're in another rain delay.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I thought it was funny to hear Regini. Did you hear Regini tell Brian's story?
Mm-mm.
His motivation story, his story about doing your own job.
Yeah, go ahead and tell it, Jason. I heard it. Why don't you tell it for those who haven't? Regini admitted he is this neighbor. So Brian told them that everybody has to play, as a team. You have to do your job. You can't worry about somebody else doing their job. So it's like you're that neighbor who mows the yard, has a perfect yard, but then somebody's worried about the other yard. So you're sitting there, you're worried about the yard next door. They suck. They're not mowing. So then you stop mowing your yard, and then all hell breaks loose because your yard's nasty. So then everybody's not doing their job. Regini went through the whole spiel and said that, yeah, we're that neighbor. I don't think our neighbors are happy with our yard. and he also said, what do you kind of expect with a bunch of college students?
Yeah, what do you expect with? So they probably expect their yard to not be mowed very often. Even though
it makes me wonder, because my grandson lives in Iowa City with a bunch of college kids from Iowa too. And their house really looks nice on the outside, but I'm wondering what their yard looks like now, because they got like 4 or 5 of them living there.
Even though they're the ones that are all in shape, who could probably mow it in 40 minutes and get it done, and
right,
get a suntan.
So but what's next on the agenda, Dean?
I just wanted us. Next on the agenda is like picking our defensive and offensive stars, and okay. If we want to pick a special team star, we can. I don't know. Do you guys want to do something like that? I kind of wanted to start doing that, and
that works.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Let's not pause the
video. Just my offensive star will be my new breakout star, Caleb Johnson.
No way.
No way. And my defensive star could be a lot of people, but I'm just going to go with Cooper DeJean, because he got the 1 pick and he seemed to be everywhere, and plus I liked his interview.
Well, did you see he had 11 tackles last week? Yeah. I had no idea.
Right.
Like, he's always around the ball. He just flies everywhere. Yeah, so Coop, right now he's the man.
He is. Real. He is. And special teams, it's going to probably be the same every week, Tory Taylor.
Right.
Or Drew Stevens. We could do Drew Stevens this week too, because he came in the third game of the season as not being a starter and hit both of his field goals.
Yeah, that's my guy.
And PATs.
Yeah, and his PATs, yeah.
I guess if I'll go next, offensively, I don't know how many times we're going to get a chance to do this. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Spencer. I thought he was okay. He got the job done. So I'm going to give the player of the game on offense to Spencer. I do believe I might even give it to Brian, because we saw some creativity this week. We saw some we saw some deep shots. We saw some things that helped facilitate some of the other things. So a combination of Spencer and Brian, I thought they did well. Defensively, yeah, it's Cooper all the way. Special teams, I'll go with Stevens. Yeah, nothing Tory Taylor did bad. It's just we expect so much out of him now that Stevens. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jason.
All right. My offensive, I mean, he's not the player, but it is BF. Like how he opened it up, and hearing that's what he's been wanting to do the whole season, but they've been afraid of wearing out their receivers, and then he took 100% advantage of it. So yeah, I love the play calling, but the receivers have to help Spencer out, and especially when Spencer was on like he was. Like I said, I believe he could have been 20 of 26, which would have been huge for Iowa, right? That would have been huge for Spencer. Wait, what? Yeah. That's an error. 20 of 26. That is not right.
Had to get him out of last place.
Right. So, but you guys know I really like Brian because I look at the whole. I don't just see what happens on the play. I see how the play was designed, and if what he called was wide open, right?
Right.
And both weeks he's had wide open receivers, and we just seen the ball go. I mean, I don't like some of it, like this last week, the 2nd and 1 reverse, I thought was kind of silly. But other than that, for the most part, I did like it. But my defense, I'm going to give it to Van Ness. God, that guy's a freak.
Oh, he is too. Yeah, he's a good choice. Good choice.
I'm going to give it to. And I think he had had sack and a half. But I think he should have had 2 because the half sack went to. Oh, what's his name? He just fell on him after Van Ness already had him. But hey, if you can dive on and get a stat, get it. But there was one play, Van Ness was just destroying him the whole game. And there was one play, though, where the quarterback tried to step to the left. I don't even know how Van Ness saw him, but he literally tackled him with one arm, being blocked by I think it was the center. Like he was being pushed, and he just grabbed him with one arm. That was the one time that he got the sack his own. I was like, geez, how much strength does that dude have, right? Yeah. So Van Ness is my guy, but I do love Cooper. I love the whole thing. Special teams, for me, before Paul, it was Stevens, but just because he came in, true freshman, he did exactly what I heard he can do. Like I heard he just rarely misses, which is why I was really shocked that he wasn't starting at the beginning of the year. But I think it's going to be his job from here on out. We're going to see flashes of a bigger leg, Keith Duncan, or oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Who's the kicker from the 2002 team?
Nate Kading.
Nate Kading,
yeah.
Good Lord.
That guy had quite a career in the NFL.
Being a true freshman, he's going to be up there with Nate Kading at kicking, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I want to say this because we have a lot of Iowa fans that just like to complain. I think just for the sake of complaining,
they want Iowa to lose just so they feel better,
right? But I even heard people complaining about the Matt Millen, the TV announcer for the game. We were talking about Van Ness, and at the beginning of the broadcast, he was hyping up Van Ness as a young Howie Long.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh my God.
Yeah,
and
that was exciting.
Look, Matt Millen likes the Iowa program, right? Yeah. You can tell he genuinely likes the direction and the leadership of the program, and he always has very complimentary things to say. I love the fact that he loves wrestlers turned football players. That's a big thing for him. He talks about leverage a lot and things like that. So anyway, Iowa fans, stop complaining about TV guys.
Yeah,
right? It's either Beth Mowens. Or,
okay, we can complain about Beth Mowens. That's fine.
and then when somebody's positive, and because he understands football, right? He understands what Iowa's trying to do, and they do it very well without having the name Alabama, Ohio State, right? They win so many games that they shouldn't win, and they lose very few games that they should win. This whole that they should beat Purdue every year is just silly because that the style Purdue plays when they have receivers, Iowa is going to struggle.
It'll be interesting. I can't wait for that game this year. I'm looking forward to it this year.
It's not going to be like that. Iowa's not going to struggle against them. You know why Charlie's already had over 50 balls to him? You know why he has so many catches? They've thrown it to him over 50 times.
Right.
He's had over 50 targets already.
Yeah.
I mean, but they don't have anybody else.
Yeah, I have to say, after watching a little bit of Purdue, they have other players besides Charlie that can catch the ball. By the way, I just think it's a design thing between Charlie and the QB there, McConnell, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
I think it's just a design thing that they came up with, that he's going to get most of the balls.
I mean, I don't see him having any other receivers other than Charlie, but there's a lot of drop passes when he doesn't go to Charlie.
Yeah. I know that they had a points explosion in the fourth quarter in that Purdue-Syracuse game. That was a 10-9 game at the end of the third quarter.
I know. So God, can you believe it happened in the fourth quarter?
But this idea that Purdue has this unstoppable, vaunted offense because of Charlie. Now Charlie made some nice plays, and he but
they're throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
When you throw the ball 50, I think he threw it over 50 times again. Somebody has to get those balls, right?
Right.
Tracy didn't play a bad game.
Yeah.
Hell, he averages 10 yards a carry. Why they don't run him more often? They ran him out of the tailback position, and he gained 13 yards. And then they didn't give it to him again. It's like,
right.
Okay.
It's just I've taken some heat on my page because I bring up Charlie and kind of say what's going on with him and everything. And it's just because Charlie was one of my favorite players at Iowa, and I'm still rooting for him.
Right. I mean, you can root for him, but your page is an Iowa page, and that's.
I know it is. I know it is.
You do.
To me, he's an Iowa boy. He's an Iowa guy.
He's a New York boy, if you want to be honest. But.
Okay. All right, guys. I want to talk a little bit about the West. What you guys think, like the outcomes this week of the West? Any surprises, like maybe Northwestern losing the game they shouldn't have, and
it was the Salukis, baby. The Salukis, and the Dukies,
or possibly that Nebraska wasn't favored to win the Oklahoma game, but they were favored to keep it closer than they did, and just got ripped.
Yeah, the Big Ten West is in trouble. I was talking with a few people about this because every year the perception of the Big Ten West is they're bad when they're really not. This year, I think the perception is reality. I mean, they've just been awful.
No, I disagree. Well, Nebraska's a dumpster fire, right? And until they get leadership back in their program, they still do have some talent. They have some good players, but I don't think they're as bad as they showed yet on Saturday. Northwestern, but I don't know what's going on there, right? I mean, they beat this Nebraska team, and then they've lost to Duke, and by the way, Duke is undefeated for what it's worth. But you lose to Duke, you lose. But Minnesota looks pretty good. They do. Now they're going to hit the meat of their schedule coming up. So we're going to find out if they're a paper tiger or not. Wisconsin, I think they'd love to have that Washington State game back. You hate to drop one at home, and then Iowa's probably got the best of the losses. I mean, losing a rivalry game to Iowa State when you turn them over 3 times and block 2 punts. I mean, just statistically, yes, Mike, that's 100% right. Yeah, they got all kinds of problems, but historically speaking, in the East, it's been Ohio State here, and then the rest of the East a clear notch below. Right now, it looks like Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State are a smaller notch below, but I mean, I still think there is a gap there. And then we don't know what Rutgers is, Maryland, Indiana. These are Indiana needed overtime to beat Western Kentucky, I think is who they played.
Right.
So, but the Big Ten as a whole, I mean, certainly the better teams right now are probably in the East, but if Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa are probably especially after if you say Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State are the top 3 in the conference right now, certainly I
can't make that work. I tried.
if you say they're the top 3, who is 4? I think there's a lot of teams jockeying for 4, including 2 or 3 in the West.
Okay, I just want to put out here what ESPN put out their probability of winning the West and the Big Ten, and you guys are going to be surprised. Nebraska's number 1, 29% to win the.
That was the beginning of the year, yeah, because Nebraska always wins the off-season national championship.
Oh, so this is at the beginning of the year, not now.
Yeah, that's at the beginning of the year.
Okay. Okay, because then they come up with Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa, then Purdue.
Yeah, that was at the beginning of the year. I got ripped really bad on Twitter by Nebraska fans because I told them exactly what was going to happen. And they tried saying, Mark Whipple's this and he's that. He's awesome. He's the king. Like, no, he's really not in first year because he doesn't adjust, right? Yeah. Hell, who knows if Nebraska beats North Dakota if Scott Frost didn't tell them to run the dang ball. Remember, they got an interception, and then it was 17-17 before Scott Frost just went nuts on Mark Whipple. Said run, and then they ran the ball, and look what happened. They ended up blowing them out in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So, I mean, and Nebraska's been exactly what I thought they were. That's why I don't ever understand all this nonsense. You got to look at coaching. You got to look at the players. They brought in, 18 transfers? I mean, that doesn't always – you got to have people around those transfers.
Right.
And that doesn't always work.
And they got to kind of gel with your system a little bit. You just can't bring them in. But did you guys hear that they fired the defensive coordinator yesterday?
Yeah. And
they fired somebody else too, but I don't remember who.
They fired the Iowa guy.
Chinander.
Yeah. He's had a lot of opportunities. Heck, I think he was the head coach at Rutgers at once too. Rutgers or Maryland, one of them, before this guy. So, and he's been failing a lot everywhere he goes with a responsible position. When he's a position coach, he's really good. As linebackers coach, he's really good. But other than that, yeah, I mean,
he was the defensive coordinator, the Iowa guy.
Chenandler, yeah.
Okay, all right. I didn't know.
Yeah, he was the DC, and I mean, proof is in the pudding, right?
Right.
I mean, when you give up,
so who do you think fired him, the interim coach or the AD?
I'm going to go with Mickey Joseph because I think the AD wants Mickey to be the head coach just by going off of his presser. Boy, he gave Mickey, he goes, I want him to be the guy, be the head coach. Right now, he's going to do everything that a head coach would do. So that way he knows how he would be the head coach, right? I think Mickey came in and said, dude, 49 points the week before. You lost to Georgia Southern. You gave up, 38 points? I mean, Jiminy Crickets.
Sounds to me like the defense got better.
Well, but I mean, when we're talking about the Big Ten West, though, all the transfers that went everywhere, all the Purdue transfers were skill position players. All the Nebraska players were skill position players. They're all missing the meat, right? You got to bring in linemen. Nebraska's O-line is still terrible. The D-line is terrible. They prop up all these, the D-ends and linebackers at Nebraska, and it's like, you guys are getting destroyed by North Dakota at the line of scrimmage. So, I mean,
it starts on the line. Everybody knows it starts at the line.
And North Dakota isn't North Dakota State. So,
right.
If you're getting destroyed at the line of scrimmage, and Georgia Southern just took Nebraska's defense to school, that was crazy. So, I mean, all these transfers that came to the Big Ten West were basically skill position players, and that's not going to cut it in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
If you don't have a line, you're done.
Right. We're still kind of the 3 yards in a cloud of dust type league a lot. Although Ohio State and Michigan are trying their hardest to change that.
Well, I mean, Ohio State has changed it. They're not that. But Michigan is. I mean, they spread you out, but they still run the football more than they pass it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, in Ohio State, every time they call a pass play, they score. It's just silly.
I do think that the Big Ten West, except for, maybe, I mean, we still have some good defenses. Wisconsin is still a good defense. Iowa is a very good defense. Minnesota, I think, is playing pretty good defense. So, I mean, and if you can play defense, you can hang around in football games. Yes, the East is better, but I do think that they're well. Look, we're going to see where we are against Rutgers on Saturday. That's an East-West game. Certainly that, Rutgers isn't maybe at the top of the pyramid over there, but they are also undefeated. So
right, yeah. Rutgers, I think, is not, as, in my opinion, as good as Iowa State. And, maybe we're going to look back at later on in the season and saying, well, Iowa State was a pretty good darn team that we lost to. And that South Dakota State can hang with anybody.
Well, I mean,
I'm hoping that's what we're going to see later on in the season. I really am.
Iowa State has Baylor on Saturday, so we'll definitely know a lot more about Iowa State. What we do know about Iowa State, they turned the ball over 3 times and let us block 2 of their punts.
Right, so, and we still lost.
But I'm definitely not sold on Iowa State being, great. I think they're probably an 8-win team, maybe 9 since they knocked us off, but we'll see.
I mean, they got a good quarterback. Hunter Deckers is just really accurate. He's really good.
And
so, guys, we should probably wrap this up a little bit, and we'll talk more about Rutgers on Friday and anybody else we want to talk about, because I'll have some games lined up for us to pick again.
Okay.
So
how'd we do on those picks? Did we keep track of that?
I didn't keep track. Unfortunately, I don't know on a couple of them. I don't remember how I went.
I just know, Paul, you and I had Syracuse and he had Purdue.
Yeah,
I did.
And I believe I took Washington to upset Michigan State.
Oh.
I did too.
So
I don't remember that pick at all, but
yeah.
I don't even remember the picks. That's funny. All right.
All right, guys, let's get out of here. I think we did another great show. And guys, don't forget to check out our sponsors, Sensi by Terry.
Yeah.
There you go.
Still make you smell good.
That's right.
There you go.
So,
all right, guys, great show. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Hi, Terry.
Bye, Terry.
Bye, Terry.
Bye, Terry. Bye.